Hello and welcome back to a whole new pod, a podcast all about Disney Channel original movies. I am one of your hosts, Lucas Melby.
And I'm that other host, Jacob Telejohn.
And Jacob, when you think of the Disney Channel, what comes to mind?
Family, quality, children,
The
wholesome.
magical world of Disney.
Real wholesome.
What comes to mind first? Family sitcoms. Single camera. Sometimes they usually now seem to be more multi-camera with laugh tracks. They're bread and butter. They know where it's buttered and it's on the side. They want the butter maybe to be spread evenly on this bread.
What?
Whatever. I don't know. I'm exhausted.
Oh my
This
God.
intro is going nowhere.
Make it stop.
This is the podcast where we watch all of the Disney Channel original movies in chronological release order.
Yes.
And we're coming off of just watching, I think, maybe the second longest DCOM we've watched so far, which was the Even Stevens movie.
And what did it come in at? Like just over 90 minutes or so?
Yeah, it's like the length of a real movie, which I prefer my DCOMs not to be.
You like them like an hour and 10 minutes,
They're
right?
not all the Jenny Project. That comes in at a cool 70 minutes.
Oh, man. That's a treat.
Yeah, as you can maybe pick up from my, even by the standards of this podcast, very bad intro. This movie has left me a little rattled.
Oh, my. See, this is... He's giving you a poor impression. I love this film.
This will be,
Loved it.
will come to heads here. I think maybe some of that will be nostalgia.
Yeah.
Fighting for Jacob's side.
Oh, 100%.
Let's just get into it because, you know, the world's going all right. Vaccines maybe on the horizon for some people. But maybe I'd say for the cast of this movie, they should be at the end of the list.
Yeah.
All right, the Even Stevens movie.
Jesus.
So going into this, I watched Even Stevens as a kid, but essentially remembered nothing about it. Going in, all I really remembered was beans.
Honestly, I mean, you obviously remembered that Shia LaBeouf was in the show.
Yeah, and
you know,
Christy Carlson Romano.
Yeah.
But I remember Beans, and mostly I remember who Beans was.
The goat.
Because of all of those like machine learning AI generated articles that pop up at the bottoms of real articles. Like, 5 tips your dermatologist doesn't want you to know.
5 things about beans you never wanted to know.
No, it was just like, this actor looks like this now? You won't believe it. And Beans was a weird-looking kid, and he's still a somewhat weird-looking adult. So I was like, oh, yeah, Beans. And watching this movie quickly, it's like, oh, Beans was like the Urkel of this show, to the point where he is deemed one of the more important characters going into this essential,
he was...
This movie operates as essentially like the series finale of the show because of the weird episode limit Disney Channel had on its shows where it just ended and, okay, you get a movie like Jet Jackson.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like...
He's literally Urkel. He is their weird neighbor who shows up, has catchphrases about bacon. Yeah, he loves bacon, whereas Urkel loves cheese.
Yeah.
He is Urkel.
I agree.
You could fart and say, did I do that? And you'd be like, well, nobody's going to try to sue Disney. So I also did some research on Wikipedia of just kind of the general premise and characters of the show.
Yeah.
Because it seems that for fans of the show, who this movie is made for would actually get a lot out of it. There's lots of references, lots of characters and callbacks that come up.
And that I agree with. You know, it is like Star Wars fan service.
Disney knows fan service.
That's right.
And it was to the point where I'm like, this sounds okay. Maybe I should watch Even Stevens. It's all on Disney Plus. Maybe I'm looking for some lighter, lazy watching material. After watching the Even Stevens movie, I have absolutely no desire to go back and actually watch Even Stevens.
Sad.
Well, you were just making a face about me watching it anyway. It doesn't sound like you want to watch it.
I mean, like the show. What was the magic number again on this? Or was it episodes
I think it's
or seasons?
65
and that's what it is. Yes, this is another one of those shows that only had 65 episodes before it's shut down for good.
People ask for 3 seasons in a movie, and Disney Channel gives it.
It's the magic number. The unlucky number, if you will.
So, everybody, when you think of Even Stevens, what do you think of? How do you want this movie to open up with? obviously a cool looking guy, maybe hacker-like, sitting at a desktop computer, typing away and looking at images of potential families. Eliminating some of those images, honing in on our good old family, the Stevens.
The Stevens family, which consists of I was just going to call her Ren Stevens. Oh, yeah, Ren Stevens. Lewis Stevens.
I'm not jumping in. You're the one who took this upon yourself.
I don't remember the parents' names.
Alan.
Who?
You're missing somebody.
Oh, Donnie.
Yes, Donnie.
Donnie, yes, the forgotten son.
Who I didn't even remember was in the show. But before we leave this hacker guy, he hones in on this picture, and then we get a close-up of his teeth as he says, perfect.
Yes, and he kind of looks like Jet Jackson while he's doing all this until we see his mustache and his goatee.
What Jacob is saying is he was a black guy.
Well, but he
had sunglasses on, so it was hard to really tell what he looked like.
And he looked cool. He looked like Jet Jackson. He looked like a hacker.
Well, they don't really try to be like, oh, this is who it was later on in the movie. So it's not even like they're trying to like hold off on the reveal.
Yeah.
Because the aura we're getting from this character is very sinister. And it's very clear who he is later on in the movie. His first impressions he gives to our characters is not as the villain of the movie.
Fair, yes.
So Ren, you mentioned, is the, I guess, middle sibling, older sister to Lewis. Lewis, played by Shia LaBeouf.
Yes.
Ren, played by Christy Carlson Romano. Donnie, correct, the older brother, played by insert name here. They are at the graduation ceremony of Ren, who is graduating middle school, which is a thing that they definitely have ceremonies for, where the kids and teachers wear gowns and caps. I've only seen, maybe there's some nicer schools out there than the ones we went to, but even at high school graduations, the teachers do not wear caps and gowns. I think that is very much like a college thing, where the professors wear those.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever the case was, this is one of those things where I think the show didn't fully exist over like 3 years. It was like 2 years, even though there was 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So this is somewhat of a culminating moment for one of them to move on from middle school.
I got to throw in here. So middle school, you're graduating at like 14. This is a common reoccurring theme in Disney Channel movies where older individuals are cast for much younger roles, where Christy Carlson Romano was 18, probably, playing like a 14-year-old. I mean,
she this movie, but this is coming off of 3 seasons of the show.
Also true, yeah.
So, really, the age gap isn't that crazy. It's not like...
She doesn't look like a 14-year-old.
There was like a character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, another show where the 3rd season ends with them graduating, and this girl was like 27 years old.
So I wonder how... If Lewis is the younger brother, like, how old is he supposed to be?
I think he must be a year younger than her.
Yeah, it's got to be really close. It's not like he's like 10 years old. Beans is like 10 years old.
So Ren is the kind of, I assume, the valedictorian type for whatever middle school might have. She gives a speech after they sing a song. It's a bit much,
it's
again,
it's
for
a
middle
California
school.
thing.
Donnie comes in late to meet up with the parents in the audience. They're like, oh my God, Donnie, you're so late. But where's Lewis?
Where's Lewis?
Where's Lewis?
Where's Lewis?
It was that from the You Wish, where's
the
Spencer
chapstick?
Breslin?
Oh, man.
Whatever the case is.
Oh, God, what's his name? I can't even think of his name in there.
That was only 2 movies ago. We can't even remember it. So we see Lewis immediately then entering with, again, the star of the show, Beans. And they have a remote-controlled beach ball.
Yes.
That is controlled by essentially like an RC car, antenna, remote control.
But like it's...
And Lewis also is outfitted with, like in Get a Clue, the Scholastic Book Fair spy gear.
But it's more so like a drone. Because it's floating. The beach ball is in the air. So, like, he has, like, a drone inside this beach ball.
There is absolutely no explanation of the mechanics of
this. It's impossible. It defies logic, especially what the weight of it.
And this whole time, Ren is giving a speech, and the beach ball is floating around, and everybody's looking at it. People are trying to pull it down, and it is going on forever.
No, it drags, yes.
And then it ends with... I guess this was supposed to be a nice thing that Lewis was doing, where it was supposed to burst out with confetti, and then he says, all right, Beans. Time for the confetti.
And Beans said, I thought you said spaghetti.
Oh, Beans. So then it dumps all over the coach.
He eats it.
His name's Coach Tugnut or something.
Coach Tug. Or Coach.
I think it's named Coach Tugnut.
Putt saves the
And
zero.
then Lewis is actually like, oh, good job, Beans. You fucked up, but it was a good fuck up for once.
Yeah.
So, haha, this is how this movie's gonna go.
But then...
if you don't love this...
But then Ren looks at Lewis, and she's pissed. And then Lewis is, like, scared. He's terrified. Tells Beans to run away. He's already ran away.
Well, they meet up with the family, and they have a huge fight.
Yeah.
But then the mom intervenes with some kind of forced finality, forced family drama, where she's like, you guys got to get it together. Donnie's going to college. Ren's going to high school. This is a big deal. You won't be in the house much longer. And I'm like, what? Her going into high school means she has immediately at least 4 more years. That means Lewis at least has 5 more years.
Yeah.
This is... You could just be like, the show has ended. This is serious. But really, it doesn't exactly work within the universe of the movie.
They could have set up another... maybe just like a Donnie solo college, kind of college years.
Yes,
of
Donnie. Again, a character neither of us remembered existed. You including, after we just watched a movie that he was in.
I mean, it was very minor.
So a lot of the beginning of this movie feels what I assume would be just an episode of the TV show. You got Goofy Bean stuff. But also kind of, I feel like this part is like the series finale part, and then the rest of the movie is just like the fun, goofy episode kind of thing. Yeah. So we get some resolution with a character I believe was in the show named Gil, who is Ren's boyfriend. Really,
they'd only been dating for like 3 months.
The scene is only notable because they go to the apparently only restaurant in Sacramento,
it's like a
California.
Waffle House.
That is a
pancake house.
Yeah, it's a pancake house, and Gil is very fascinated with the Rolodex of like 6 different kinds of syrup at his table.
Very into
Which
it.
I'm sure if Dustin Levac was watching this movie, he's like, why aren't they saying exactly what kind of syrup? Is that boysenberry? Where's my butter pecan?
But then the guy says, God, they have so many different flavors.
Yeah, I was intrigued.
Oh, yeah.
But he's going to work at a summer camp, and he wants to
in like Maine though,
he wants to hook up with some hot chicks in Maine, so they break up. Okay, I don't fucking care.
We feel no connection. But she's sad. Ren is pissed. She tries to dump syrup on top of him, but it's too thick.
Yeah.
She goes home, cries to her mom.
That would be horrible syrup. That'd be like, it's tearing up your pancakes as you're trying to spread it around. Awful.
Tearing up your teeth.
At this point, as I said, this just feels what I assume is like an episode of the show. And that's where I don't really know how they could do it. But when we compare this to another sort of movie that functioned as a series finale with the Jet Jackson movie, that functions so much better for me as somebody who never watched the show, being introduced to these characters, but then also coming up with its own self-contained plot that was actually pretty unique and interesting in the context of that show.
Yeah.
Where this is just like, well, this is a pretty by-the-books family sitcom, so what do you do in those? Spoiler alert, you send them to a tropical island.
Damn straight.
Or Europe, one of those two.
Yes.
So here, I just had a note, because I didn't really know this. We got the part with the beach ball, but apparently Lewis is an inventor.
Yeah, I guess.
But, so,
I really
the impression I got from my
show.
reading and just what you get from the show is he's kind of like a prankster, fuck up that people don't really like and drives everybody crazy. But I guess he's also smart because he makes inventions, but the inventions don't work really well.
Yeah.
But he has this big chair that's got like a CD holder on it and like an umbrella.
It can make you hot dogs and a sundae.
Yeah, and there's maybe a TV attached to it.
Yes, it comes up between his legs.
And he's got like a keyboard that he's putting stuff in on.
And he has a chair that pops out of the side.
So yeah, he's showing this off to Twitty, Tawny, and Tom. I don't know if the writers intended that alliteration, but Twitty is played by... speaking of Spencer Breslin's brother in You Wish.
Yes.
So this is 2 DCOMs in a single year. So this was probably the peak of his career.
Wow.
Tawny, who I don't think she's anybody notable. And Tom, which, again, I'm just picking up from context clues from the show or from the movie. And what I read is Tom is kind of coded as maybe being like gay, which in early 2000s was just like a character trait you can give to like the goofy character to laugh at. He also apparently has a weird relationship with his mom where he calls her by her name all the time, Doris, and she's like a really like helicopter parent, I think. Later on, we'll see Tom for, we won't tell you what reasons, but he's on a boat called the SSS Doris. So, and he's really like, he loves Lewis and wants to be his best friend.
Yes, at one point, he's showing off the chair, Twitty going to leave, and Tawny's still hanging out there. Lewis pops out the chair.
Tawny, at this point, she was a character in the show, but at this point, she is Lewis's girlfriend.
They're dating, yes. And he pops out the chair on his machine.
And it's a very small, like, side chair.
Right next to him. He's like, you can sit next to Papa. And then she's like... It. Yeah, pats the chair, and then she's like, "Oh, sorry, Papa. Like, I gotta go," or whatever.
Yeah, it's just really awkward.
And then Tom's like, "I'll sit next to Papa," and then he hops right on there.
Like, man, I didn't want that, man.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a big fan of that stuff. Beans. At this point, we have to include him and really include him because he is coming to stay with the Stevens for a number of weeks because his parents have gone to Helsinki. Helsinki? It's in Finland. Get a globe. Oh, Beans. And he has a suitcase filled with bacon because he is essentially the dog from the Beggin' Strips commercials.
Bacon.
And he just manhandles these giant fistfuls of loose bacon, and I just found it really gross. I didn't like it. So then I just have some other stuff happens. There's some shenanigans with his chair.
Yeah.
And Ren, but really the movie starts. This is, again, just like the goofy TV show stuff. And then the actual plot of the movie starts when Tim Meadows, that's the name of the actor, he was on SNL. I know him probably in his most prominent role as the principal in Mean Girls. I mean, this is probably his biggest role in anything I've ever seen. He's like the biggest character outside of the family.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And he's probably my favorite part of the movie. So he shows up and gives this sense that, oh, he's some kind of salesman. The family doesn't want to hear from them.
Yes, yeah. We still don't know that this was him at the beginning.
But there's only so many black people in the movie.
So we figure it out.
And there's never like any like reveal that it's like, oh, cut back to that. So I guess they respect the audience enough to put two and two together. Which is maybe rare for a Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah.
To cut to the chase, the family has won an island vacation to the island of Mandalino. What's Mandalino? I've never heard of it. Well, that's because it's a newly opened island to the public. It's never been touched by outside hands or technology. There's a really goofy video he shows that there's just... It's like hospitality, and you see hospitality above like island footage, and the font isn't quite great. Comic Sans, but it's pretty poor. And the family mostly seems on board, but Lewis is like, what? A tropical vacation? Yeah, that sounds super fucking lame.
I never could put two and two together why he hated it so much. I don't know what that was.
Since we saw the graduation ceremony, this is them getting into summer vacation. And I can actually somewhat relate of maybe sometimes all I want to do during my summer vacation was just stay home and play video games.
Yeah.
But what if it's like a week or whatever? Like, why wouldn't you want to go? But he's like begging the family, but Donnie, who's kind of he's supposed to be a jockey meathead guy. Who's stupid.
He's like, I want to run on the sand. Let me go get my work on, bro. Good
training. So they all agree. So the mom and dad, they're mentioned here, like, why are we being picked? Oh, you're the perfect family because you're influential in this town. Because Mom, you're a state senator, and Dad, you're a lawyer at a big law firm. Actually, I'm not at the big law firm anymore. But they have a contract, which the dad, as a lawyer, does not read, and under pressure from the family, ends up signing.
Signing it, yeah. I didn't know what he was getting himself into.
So I think they're like, what's the catch? And they're just... Tim Meadows says, well, we want you to just have a great time and give us a good testimonial.
So we can put it on our brochure.
Yeah, our marketing materials or whatever for the island. Okay, sure, whatever.
We're all our money.
Who else is going to come? Well, Beans is coming too.
Beans.
They're responsible for him for what they thought was a day, but then turned into weeks. So sure, he comes along on a tropical vacation.
Who goes to Helsinki for like 3 weeks?
I mean, I'm sure Bean's parents are trying to just home alone him constantly, where they go to places and purposely try to leave him behind.
I mean, I would too.
So they are flown into the island on a small plane, one of like the ones that land into the water.
Yeah, and it lands into the water.
Thank you. They don't just get dropped out or like Survivor style thrown off a boat or something.
And they're being guided in by the quote-unquote natives.
The natives of this very... it's explained
multicultural.
Eventually. Yes, it's multicultural, multi-ethnic.
In the video, they said, yes, this is people that were native to the island. Originally, these are from pirate ships that landed here, and those people lived here.
There's white people, Asian people, black people, all sorts, but they're all dressed in leis and hula skirts and all of that. So that's goofy. I just rate lots of island silliness. Getting pineapple hats. Ren meets a hot puka shell wearing guy named Mukhtar. Yeah. Then they see where they're going to be staying, and it's the palace.
The Palace of Forbidden Secrets.
And it gives vibes of the tropical version of the Palace in Naboo because it is horrible CG.
It's bad.
And it's made even worse because they superimpose people at the front, little people waving at them.
But then when they walk up to it, you see these same people waving. So, like, come on.
And I could maybe accept the horrible CG house, but then there's a sign that says, like, royal bedroom. Oh, Ren and Lewis start fighting over who gets to sleep in there. Bedroom. They open the door, and we just see a stock footage of a tropical bedroom.
It's another bedroom.
And then Tim Meadows steps in and is like, no, that's the royal family's bedroom. Shut the door. We can't go in there.
but these aren't just the only two CGI-like clips. Like, there's other ones when they're...
Yeah, just of island areas.
Beach, and yes, it's funny.
It felt like... While this is one of the longer DCOMs, I wouldn't be surprised if the budget of this was just the equivalent of like 2 or 3 episodes of Even Stevens.
Yeah.
They eat like some weird local food that's like a slug.
Yeah, the slug was really nasty. It was like blue. It was weird.
Beans loves it.
It was white and blue, yes, because he stole the one from Christy Carlson. Well, it wasn't hers. It was Lewis's, because Lewis was whispered to.
Tim Meadows is saying, like, oh, you think that slug's gross? Well, I hear this island that's not supposed to have any modern technologies. The island chief has stored away a bunch of American snack food.
Pantry full of amazing snack food. So he gives Ren his worm, and Beans eats the worm, and he runs off. And everyone's like, where the hell is he going?
So I felt, especially with some of the reveals that come later on, that this movie undoubtedly had to have been influenced by Survivor, the reality show. And probably with this food... Maybe even a little Fear Factor, but Survivor had plenty of the gross food
this is
challenges.
Like the peak of those shows, for sure.
They were like, Beans, you have to eat this cow testicle. I love it. Give me all of the balls.
Smells like pork.
Yeah, smells like pork. So yes, Lewis having the tip off that there's some corn snackies and other food. That is actually what a box says is corn snackies.
Oh, when you went to the bathroom, there was another one, a box of like cereal that just said honey. The box just said honey on it.
I'd be all about that. So he opens it up and he's getting all this food. And what's this? There's a tribal idol sitting in this snack cabinet.
Yeah.
So he just lifts it up, and that seems to trigger some mechanism.
An open door.
To open a door to the Forbidden Chamber of Mystery.
Yes. Keep out.
Because all local tribal areas know English and label their rooms with English text.
Yes.
So he finds inside a throne, and that's what I wanted to do at home, was just sit on my chair the whole time. So he sits on it. It didn't look very comfortable, but Shia LaBeouf was very into it.
And we hear later on that he was sold out for having a fetish of sitting in chairs. We find that out later.
Not in those exact words. But yes, the widespread fetish of I like to sit down in chairs. You fucking pervert! I have a standing desk because I'm not a fucking chair pervert. But yeah, he sees on this throne, there's this lever next to it, and he's like, oh, it must be a footrest. Even though there was no sign of a footrest on this throne. So he pulls it, and the whole building CG house falls apart in like the most horrible CG physicky. Just imagine just a cardboard house, the sides falling down, and just like ragdolling about. And it's very sad.
And he's left just sitting right in the middle. He's sitting there right in the middle. And
yeah, it's a very common shot of if he was in like a fucking outhouse and a possum blew up the doors or whatever. Fucking Eddie Murphy, Dr. Doolittle shit or something.
Does that
like
happen
that.
in Eddie Murphy?
I don't fucking know. It feels like the vibe I get from that.
I mean, I believe you.
So the natives get pissed at Eddie. That's not his name.
Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off.
I'm like, where is Eddie even from?
Stevens. What's his name?
Lewis.
Lewis Stevens.
Was Eddie his name in True Confessions? I feel like it might have been. They get pissed, and then there's also some lip service from Tim Meadows that they're saying that they're cursed now, that the island's cursed.
Yes.
And the family's mad at Lewis because they're like, where are we going to stay? But it's also like, where do all the islanders stay?
In little huts.
It made it seem like some of them stayed in the house, but then we don't like see any of their village. There's a reason for that.
Yes.
Tim Meadows encourages them to leave the village, go to a shoreline area, and again, very much like Survivors, start constructing some
lean-tos.
Yes. And where are you going to stay, Tim Meadows? Oh, well, I have a hut in the village.
Lucky.
Convenient.
Yes.
So then Mom, Donnie, and Lewis, they
separate. This is the first separation of the groups.
Very important.
Yes.
They are gathering sticks when Tim Meadows, and it's clear why in a little short while, but he just gives this like metaphysical, like evil agent of darkness, like in The Stand, like the dark man that he just appears, or maybe more like Needful Things, the Stephen King book about a shop owner who just sells people things that like drives them insane, and eventually like this entire town just is at each other's throats and like burns to the ground.
What?
But he's just this agent of chaos being like, hello, you three. And he says, yes, you should go. The tribal chiefs want you to see if you can apologize to their fire god. Please come with me. Yeah. Oh, what about, we should get everybody else? No, it must be a group of three.
Only groups of three.
So again, he's my favorite part of the movie.
And then he backs up that group of three by Muay Thai, who's there too for, I don't know why Muay Thai.
Yeah, I guess I forgot that.
Yeah, he was out there too.
So they go
I think
and
he was talking to Ren maybe.
They go and see the fire god statue, who we later learn is named Oprah.
Yes.
No
Oprah.
connection. Complete coincidence.
Coincidence.
That was like a minorly funny part of the movie. I didn't have a lot of laughs in this movie. So they appeal to this big statue. One of the other funnier bits in this part was Lewis says, oh, you want me to talk to the big head? And they're like, oh my god. And he says, big sacred head.
And they're like, oh yes, very good. Very good, Lewis.
Good, Lewis. Lewis, you are part of the Silver Monkeys and you must enter the Legend of the Hidden Temple.
Oh, that was a great show.
Sorry, that was Nickelodeon. Apologies for the crossover. We hate Nickelodeon.
No, we love that show.
Then they get to have a feast for reasons.
Like, it's like a literal pig.
Yes.
And
it's like a luau pig roast.
Yes. Looks good.
And then they ask, oh, well, should we invite the rest of our family? And they're like, I don't really remember what it was, but it's like, nope, still groups of three.
Yeah, groups of three.
So then we see back at the beach this other group, which is a very funny combination of Dad, Beans, and Ren. And this is where it really feels like the connection between Dad and Beans is very much Carl Winslow and Urkel in Family Matters. And as I was trying to research, I couldn't remember Carl's name. And then I came across that there's an episode where Carl turns into Carl Urkel because he gets glasses or something. It's a 2-part episode of Family Matters. And that show, I've never, I think, seen a single episode, but I just hear bits and pieces about how it develops, and it just always sounds the same. About, like, Steve Urkel transforming into Stefan. I think this is actually Carl Winslow enters in the Stefan machine. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Sorry. Completely different show. Even Stevens, a lesser show.
The Goat Show.
So then Mutai saves Ren. She's walking around. She's about to get attacked by a snake.
Yeah.
Mutai saves her by making a more ugly face than the snake's.
Yes, very key.
And then he gives Ren a shell necklace.
And the necklace is made from every single shell that she stepped on from the moment she got to the island.
Which is actually not that many shells. But even still, it would be enough of shells where you think we would have seen some scenes of her going like, ow!
Ouch.
Ow!
And you see him in the background picking them up.
Yas, queen.
Yes, queen. I
Wherever
pray the ground you walk on.
You step on. Step on me.
Oh, God.
Like these shells.
Yikes.
And then she's so moved and they're about to kiss. But then Ren says,
no, I'm not
Mutai,
ready.
I'm not ready.
Mukhtar, I'm not ready yet.
And Mutai respects that and says,
he does.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, yes. Don't we...
And then he says something about, oh, your family's feasting right now. And Ren's like, motherfucker.
She's pissed. So they go up to like creep on him. Well, I think there's more Bean stuff
They
too,
go
right?
to see what's happening. And then Ren wants to join in, and then Tim Meadows pops up.
Pops out of nowhere. He's like, no.
No, you can't. It would upset the tribal chiefs. And also your family said, hey, more for us. Don't tell them.
And then she's like, I wonder who said that. It was fucking Lewis. I bet Lewis, that motherfucker, said it.
Tim Meadows is essentially the devil and angel on somebody's shoulder, but he's only ever the devil.
Yeah. Mukhtar was the good one.
Well, I mean,
angel.
but he told them, or told Ren that they were at the feast.
Yeah.
He's playing his role.
Yes, correct.
So after the feast, the fire god statue spits out fire at Mom, Donnie, and Lewis, which means they're in trouble.
Good. They're shunned.
And yes, the villagers
And Donnie's like,
them.
yes! He thinks it's a good thing.
Oh, Donnie.
It's not. Dumb.
Yes, so the villagers are not allowed to interact with them, and if they do, then they must kill the family. So then we get the setup that the next plane will be coming in 7 days.
7 days.
So they need to survive on their own without the villagers' assistance for 7 days.
Jeez. So they're on their way back to the beach fire, to the beach, I don't know, the lean-to. And
they
Ren,
get confronted.
Well, yes, because Ren's already told Beans and Dad what she saw.
This is where Beans says, they smell like pork.
They smell like pork.
So yeah, we're getting the family fights.
Yes.
The camps are divided between the two.
She's like, oh, we were only told the groups of 3, we didn't want to tell you because...
A likely story.
Yeah.
And even the dad's mad at the mom.
Oh, he's pissed. Everybody's pissed at each other. This is the separation.
So eventually
of states.
it is the animosity, and I don't have it too much in my notes because I thought it was kind of stupid, but the animosity between the dad and mom is played up because the dad doesn't have a job right now. So he's not the breadwinner for the family.
Yeah.
He says at one point, like, I'm putting food in their mouth. And I'm like, maybe some wording there, Mr. Lawyer. But then it starts to rain, and we get the fade out as it starts to rain to the big reveal that all of this has been happening on a television show called Family Fake Out, hosted by Tim Meadows. His character name, I don't remember. But it would be awesome if he's like, I'm Tim Meadows.
Yes.
So this is a cool premise for this show.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's also like, oh, so this rainstorm is fake? How can you fake this rainstorm? Because they do show that they're faking the rainstorm because they're like, crank up the thunder. But that's not how movies work.
8-year-olds aren't thinking about that, though, Lucas.
Wow, you just, again, condemned the premise of this podcast of us late 20-somethings critiquing these movies not made
Sorry,
for
let
us.
me be a kid. Let me be a child again.
Disney Channel, where a teeny bopper can be a teeny bopper.
I was like 10 years old when this came out.
So was I.
I loved it.
So yeah, we kind of get a quick cut of all of this stuff that's been set up. So like Muay Thai is... fake.
Yes.
So
Muay Thai was there because Twitty sold everything out to them.
Well, Twitty, Twitty hears about this show. He refers to Steven's family, thinking that they'd be a good fit, and then they must get picked, and then Twitty gives them all the details about how to piss them off. Because he thought it would just be fun.
Yeah. So Muay Thai... So they know the information that she just broke up with the boyfriend, so that's why he's throwing it in there to be the love interest.
Hot.
Oh, he's got those curls and the shells and the...
Something else I forgot to mention.
Everything's there for the reason, like the big chair. Like we mentioned, the big chair is there because Lewis
obviously
likes the big chair.
The whole thing with the lever to destroy house was fake.
Everything's
the multicultural island, not real.
No, fake. It's only like it's like 2 miles off the coast of...
So we haven't gotten that reveal yet. But something else I forgot to mention was during some of the island shenanigans, Donnie sees somebody who happens to be black, but he's like, didn't we go to school together? And it was like,
He's like,
it could be racist, but it does
Yes.
play into the plot
Yeah.
where this was somebody Donnie actually did go to school
Lucas
with.
said that, and he didn't have an idea yet that this was
Well,
like
I
a TV
read
show.
some stuff on
Oh,
Wikipedia.
okay. Because I'm like, oh, God.
But then he tells them, but Donnie's such an idiot, nobody believes him. So then we see this character.
Again.
He gets fired by Tim Meadows, but then Tim Meadows says, actually, Donnie's a fucking idiot, so we can play off of his stupidity with you.
So we're going to dress you up in your freaking, like, school clothes.
Yeah.
And ask Donnie, where's the class? Or, oh, bro, you're late to class or
Because
something.
even though Donnie feasted the night before,
Yes.
within a day, everybody's just like starving and hallucinating and losing their minds. So we see people from the town, everybody in Sacramento is watching the show, loving it because everybody hates the Stevens family.
Yeah.
Or at least Lewis, so they like people being mad at Lewis.
Yeah.
And we're seeing Twitty and Tawny watching it together, which I don't know
Yeah.
what's all about that. Does
Oh,
Lewis
man.
know?
Oh, golly.
So
Where's
this
Tom?
is where they explain, like, oh, you sold them out, Twitty. I thought it was just fun. I don't know, this is pretty fun, right? But then they're seeing that, this is getting kind of crazy.
Very.
And it is crazy because while summer programming can be kind of sparse, this is apparently like multi-day shoot, constant live footage, editing on the fly. We see some of the segments for his television where it's like in the morning, but then it switches to primetime family fake out.
So
it's
what,
like
what year?
all day long.
So it's basically the Truman Show.
If this show existed, I mean, I'd watch it.
Oh, 100%. This would be like, it's like the Jersey Shore, but like 24/7.
I mean, it's a reality show where we know it's fake, but
Yeah.
not everybody in it knows it's fake.
That's true, too.
The facade is part
I
of
want
the
the
fun.
real Truman Show. Give me.
Well, that is probably unethical. But the Lewis Stevens really sucks, so this is okay.
Yes.
This is where further hits home why Tim Meadows has just been showing up to play off all of the family members against each other.
Yeah.
And they're very much at their throat right now. Oh, yeah, and Muay Thai talks to Tim Meadows to say, oh, he's like, yeah, good job, Muay Thai. You're really getting into this role. He's like, well, I do kind of like her. Oh, yeah,
My character likes her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and that comes into play later.
It does.
Very important.
I also say Tim Meadows constantly appearing is very funny.
He pops up at just the most random times. They'll be talking about wanting to try to find food, and here he is like, oh, there's a food crate that just dropped right over there. There's a food crate. Follow the blue ribbons. Follow the red ribbons.
There's a food drop that they see, but then he tells one family to follow a set of blue markers.
Yes.
The other three group to follow a set of red markers. They each end up at an empty, ransacked
Yes, they're
food
both
spot.
empty. And the way that
Then he appears to both of them to be like, the others did it.
Yes, because Lewis leaves his shirt at the site. This is when he went to the bathroom, but he takes his shirt and he leaves it on one of the empty boxes. And
When I went to the bathroom.
Yes.
Not when Lewis went to the bathroom.
Correct. So Ren finds his shirt on the empty box. And then they know, or they think they know, that the other family was there. And Beans...
So it's really just a constant pile-on of all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Twitty and Tawny are then watching it at the one establishment in Sacramento, the Pancake House, where they come across Coach Tugnut. And he's watching it and he's loving it because he fucking hates Lewis.
And he's very hungry.
And he's the one who lets drop that apparently the show is just being filmed like a couple miles away.
Off Catalina Island or whatever.
Not Catalina, but like some other island.
Sounds like that.
And that they apparently fooled the family by
flying around for like 3 hours.
Flying around in circles.
Circles, yeah.
But then the only way that would make sense is, I guess we can assume they went off into the ocean so that there was no more land around and flew around in circles for a while.
Whatever.
The Stevens family are very stupid. So they are like, well, shit, we can come to the rescue then. So then we go and see and find Tom in his, as a aforementioned, the SSS Doris. Yeah. And he's just there. They find him there. And
swabbing the deck.
He's singing some sea shanties.
And how does this dude have his own boat? Yes. He's loaded.
He is the most interesting character of this. They take the boat, and for whatever reason, I think they leave Tom behind. and we never actually see him
I don't think we ever see him again. He's just the end. That's the end of Tom.
And it's kind of scary because we see them in this lifeboat paddling to shore, Twitty and Tawny.
There's a massive wave. It's like a tsunami wave.
It's a horrible CG wave, but yes, it is huge.
It's huge. Maybe it would have killed them.
Tom is dead. It's the perfect storm.
That's what had happened. Tom is died.
But this is not a wave created by the show.
No.
And it's just off the coast of California.
And it's never mentioned ever again. Like, we're talking like, it's not just like, it's a 8-foot big wave. It's like 50 feet tall. They make it look like a monster.
So they wash the shore, but Twitty and Tawny have been
Tawny's
separated.
like still on the boat.
Twitty gets knocked into the water, so once they get to shore, they're separated.
And then Tawny gets knocked out by a fucking coconut.
Yep, a coconut's got to drop and bonk her on the head.
And then she gets like amnesia.
And everything.
Yeah,
she wakes up with essentially
doesn't know
amnesia.
where she is.
And then Twitty gets captured by some security guards from the show.
And he's locked up in a trailer?
Yes. He tries to tell them that he is Lars Honeytoast, which is apparently a callback to an episode of the show.
Oh.
But they say, hey, you're the one who told us about this family. We know who you are. So then they lock him in the trailer. More family drama. There's they find a single peanut.
Yes,
Donnie, Mom, and Lewis.
They're
and
trying to cut it into thirds, and they want to keep the stem for dessert.
And then they drop it in a squirrel.
A reoccurring
an animatronic robotic squirrel. Yes, it's a reoccurring squirrel, but this will be the only mention of the squirrel.
At one point, it's chasing them, and then it's chasing another person. It chases a lot of people, and then they try to hunt it for food.
And I just love, at this point, and even like the day before, how unbelievably dirty and torn their clothes are, and like their faces. It essentially looks like they were all around when a cartoon bomb exploded, and they get all sooty like the police officer does in Jingle All the Way with the mail bomb or whatever. I don't know why that movie just sprung in my head. Another terrible movie. And then Donnie finds Tawny, who has amnesia, so she doesn't know what's going on. And Donnie had just seen his classmate walk by.
Yes.
So he thinks he's hallucinating. So he's like, I'm going to take you, Tawny, so that people don't think I'm crazy this time. And then we get a romantic moment with Mutai. And he's about to come clean. Actually, no, they are going to kiss, and then we see a cutaway to Tim Meadows like, do you think they're going to fucking kiss?
And yes, so this goes to a poll. This poll, these numbers are rising very quickly.
It's everybody at home, so they have to go to
voting.
a website. It's not like a call-in thing.
Yeah.
And we see the principal from the school, Ren's friends, they're all frantically typing.
No.
Yes. He's so hot.
25 fucking million people.
And those were just the S's.
And this is in like 10 seconds. 25 million people.
With the way the principal was writing no, he was frantically typing and yelling no over and over again. Maybe you can vote multiple times. Maybe this is one of those polls that 4chan finds out about and then wrecks.
Was he on a computer doing that?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
He had a laptop because he got that cushy principal money.
Oh.
Obviously, television viewer numbers currently with all the cord cuttings and stuff, much lower than it would have been in 2003. But for a summer programming, and this was during the middle of the day, to get 25 million viewers, it's insane. And it's only slightly more insane than the ratings for the rival show, Gotcha.
Which is only 1 point lower.
So then that maybe got 24 million viewers or something.
Oh my god.
So Gotcha was a show, kind of a punked show that we saw on the TV earlier, and seemed to have been a big motivation for Lewis wanting to stay home all summer so he could watch Gotcha. With not Ashton Kutcher.
Sad.
So yes, this romantic moment with Muay Thai. People think that they should kiss. I don't know if they actually kiss or not. I don't remember. I don't think they do.
I don't think they do. She makes up another excuse.
Well, I think maybe it's Muay Thai who's like, I need to come clean before we kiss, and he's about to tell her.
Oh yeah.
This has all been. He's probably gonna be like, hey, I'm part of a show, but actually I do have feelings for you. But Tim Meadows calls a code red.
The elder, the chief
village elder gets called in. Somebody pulls away Muay Thai, and then Ren's like, what the fuck's going on?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like...
It's all Lewis Stevens. Lewis Stevens did this to you. He told about a secret meeting.
Yeah, he's getting his lines fed to him through his earpiece.
Yes.
And Ren's like, yeah, Lewis does suck, and I hate him a lot. So that seems believable.
But this, I think she got a hint. Like, I think she was kind of...
No.
You don't think so?
No, they do explain the ending of the movie later on. So Twitty, in his trailer, he had found a villager disguise, and then we see him outside of the trailer.
How does he get out of it?
We don't know. Characters later on say, how did he get out? It's never explained how he got out. But he's got this villager disguise on. He's eating food because, again, any character that has not eaten within a couple of hours is just ravenously hungry.
Yes.
Apparently, the SSS Doris did not have anything on it. Cue the image compilation from Nathan For You, where they're on the yacht, and he says, for dinner, you're having nothing.
I remember that.
So then Twitty goes and unplugs the cables that are attaching to, like, the satellite that's feeding out all the footage.
Yes.
So then the show is taken off the airwaves, but it is quickly replaced with some kind of Easter egg decorating show, which Coach Tugnut is very into. Then the parents eventually just figure out everything. It all comes together where nobody knows what's going on, but then parents figure it out because they're smarter adults, and they're like, it seems like Tim Meadows is always around telling us the exact things that makes us want to kill each other.
Interesting.
And then Donnie shows up with Tawny, and then Beans is just like, why are there cables in the sand? There's not supposed to be any modern technology.
Well, yeah. So Donnie,
it's just a convergence immediately of all these things.
Donnie finds Tawny on, like, the beach, and she doesn't know why she's there. She doesn't know who she is.
And presumably the only reason the crew did not intervene for her is because they don't have any live feeds.
Everything is down. So when they found, so they see Twitty walking through the forest, and they don't know it's him. They tackle him, and then they, like, find out.
Little Twitty walking through the forest.
So then, yes, they put it all together.
So they do have cameras, and we see some of the cameras where it's, like, a guy wearing a shark head.
Yeah.
Just filming from the ocean. But then we see some, like, extreme close-ups of people that are looking at cameras, but not actually looking at cameras in trees. And it's like, how the fuck are they not seeing these cameras?
Great zoom.
Exactly. They got a huge lens that they can get it far away, but they still can't see the huge lens.
Apparently not.
They put it all together. They see somebody running through the woods in a villager outfit. Oh, it's one of the crew members. Let's get them. So Donnie tackles the person, but it's Twitty.
Yes.
Everybody's together. And then they even further hit home like, oh, yeah, why are you here, Twitty? Oh, well, I felt kind of bad about setting you guys up on this terrible show.
Like, she bobs him in the head. And then they're like, oh, well...
We should probably find Ren and Lewis.
Yeah, what was the last thing they saw? Well, he was scratching his butthole with a stick. Beans was smelling a beetle. And Ren was going to kill Lewis. And then they're freaking out.
And I thought this was him saying that when they left town, that was the last thing on the air. But no, I think it was, he was seeing the screens that the crew were seeing.
Yeah.
So oh shit, we should probably find them because Ren is acting like a crazy lady where she is, again, this has been like 2 days without food or water. So she has gone full Lord of the Flies, mud face makeup. She's got a sharpened stick and she's chasing after Lewis.
Yeah, and in order to believe it, they have no idea what's going on. They don't know about the TV show. They know nothing.
So the TV crew has gotten the camera feeds back up. So Tim Meadows has seen this and he's like, nah, she's not actually gonna hurt her. But then he starts to worry that an actual murder may be committed.
Yes, because he makes that comment. He's like, she's not really going to hurt him. And this is where Ren pops up. Her face is like dead in the camera. I'm going to hurt you, Lewis.
She really hams it up for a camera that I guess maybe she knew was there. And she essentially does like a here's Johnny type thing.
Very.
So Tim Meadows intervenes at this. It all meets up at this cliff.
Lewis is being
very jumping ship.
Poked at the chest by Ren with a pointed stick that she was using to like fish or hunt the squirrel or whatever it was.
So then the family also shows up. Everybody's yelling, no, Ren, don't do it. Lewis sucks, but he's not worth murdering over. But then Ren doesn't listen and murders Lewis.
Kills him.
He takes a dive over the cliff.
Right off the cliff. And Tim Meadows is crying. The mother's crying. Everybody's crying. Everybody's freaking out. Ren's having regrets for killing him.
But what's that? We hear a
chopper.
Yes, a chopper pulls up, and inside the chopper, we hear from a megaphone the host of the show we just mentioned a little bit ago, Gotcha. The host is actually Uncle Joey from Full House, and he says, "Hey, Tim Meadows, host of family, fuck you or whatever. You just got
Gotcha on your own show.
And the helicopter keeps pulling up, and
there's Lewis
is on a rope ladder.
Guys.
So this did not completely save this movie for me, but it was a very fun twist.
Yes.
That did add a decent amount of enjoyment to this.
100%.
But it didn't completely make sense because it's like, oh, so this helicopter was just idling down below. No, I'm just, let me get there.
Yes, sorry.
Idling down below. So, like, how did he get on this rope ladder? He would have had to go through the rotors. And then it's like, no, Tawny and Twitty had a net. And they just come up with, like, a balled up net. And like, see, we did it. And I'm like, I still don't buy it.
That was perfect.
The feed from the television channel of people watching at home switches the channel to Gotcha. Yes. So we're seeing Dave Coulier, or I think that's how you say his name, talking to them. And it's just like the television testimonial. So with Papa Stevens, he's like, not active lawyer. And he's like, here's what happened. We found Ren and Lewis, and they were up in a tree. And she did seem like she was going to kill him. But then we told her that this was all a fake show. And then we, got on the horn with Gotcha. And we lined up this whole elaborate plan within the matter of Dave Coulier says hours, but probably more like 20 minutes. And then, we found a net, apparently, and we had them get down there real quick. And it seems like kind of like a sheer cliff where there's a straight fall off. So I don't know how they really got down there or got up without them dying, but
Gotcha.
It's quits. So, yeah, that part of it was a little like, okay, sure, whatever.
Oh, that's fun.
And then there's some other fun comedy with like the subtitles of people like they call Ren and Lewis lovable scamps, and then Shia Buff, I assume, doing some kind of like ad lib where he's just pulling up his like shorts, like exposing his legs. So some goofy stuff.
He does like a little. He does a handful of ad lib stuff like that earlier. Wasn't there something like his mouth or his hair or something weird earlier at one point too? He just does goofy stuff.
I don't know how much of it was ad lib.
He just does goofy stuff.
So yes, Tim Meadows is, I don't know, his career is apparently over, which I don't really buy that in the television industry, having something...
He had 25 million views.
Yeah, something this crazy, he's going to show up in like a couple of years. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
He's gonna start the Tim Meadows experience.
Ooh, what is that?
I was trying to be like Joe Rogan hosted Fear Factor, and now...
his own show.
Tim Meadows will start his own podcast that platforms people that like to talk about how the Sandy Hook shooting was fake.
Yeah.
You know, he's just asking questions, you know?
Just the moderator. Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah. It's okay. We're a very small podcast. I can punch up at the big guys. The families all resolved their anger issues.
Yes.
Ren meets up with Lewis and they kind of make up. And
Jason.
He's like, hey, Jason.
And
that
she's like,
is the real name of
Mutai.
Mutai,
yeah.
Who comes up and gives her a big old kiss.
Yeah, a lot of tongue.
No.
There
was.
Just a little bit.
There was zero. And so, they kiss, and then, I don't know, they probably are like, oh, let's hang
meet
out.
up.
And then they do
in
like
a
pancake house.
They like date a lot, or they like date. They become
She's still only like a freshman in high school. Unclear how old Mutai is.
He's in college.
Yeah. If that was the case, then their show probably there would be big trouble if they were purposely setting up an underage girl to kiss an adult. So then the family is all happy. They're getting into the plane. And apparently still has room for Twitty and Tawny.
Yeah.
Because it's like, Twitty's like, are you still mad at us? Not that mad, but you have to sit by Beans. So we had already gotten a few fart jokes from Beans.
Yes,
and
I'm really gassy.
One more here. Oh, Beans. You know what bacon does to you? You know what beans do to you? Cholesterol. Jacob called this, but it also might have just been his weird brain remembering it from a child. But
Lewis Stevens.
Lewis calls out to...
Tawny. He gets his just desserts from the beginning.
But he's also, again, it's like a collapsible seat that he like pulls out.
You want to sit next to Papa?
And
you see her eye roll. We never mentioned...
she probably does sit there.
Yeah. And we never mentioned Ren getting slacked on the ass by that one machine either.
That's okay. Lewis's, weird chair contraption. Slapped her on the ass and then covered her in whipped cream and chocolate syrup.
That was weird.
I know people accuse that one writer of like iCarly of being like a weird creepo, but there might have been a weird creepo writing for this.
Papa. Where was Tom? He's just dead.
Yeah, we don't see him in any of these final sequences, so we get a very much probably for the ending of the show overall. Yeah. We get a framing device, I think, of Beans writing some school report of what I did this summer. Yeah. And it's very much like the end of Animal House of so-and-so went on to be a state senator. Yes. It was the mom in this case, but I didn't take full notes, but it's like Ren hooked up with Mutai, Jason at the pancake place. Lewis sat on the papa chair, and Tawny got to sit in the real chair.
Yes.
The dad got a job.
Oh, and Donnie went to college.
And it was on a green screen. They couldn't even get him to go to an actual campus. Yeah, we don't see, like, Tom. Like, Tom died at sea.
Tom died. Well, he died in that tsunami.
I'm sure Twitty was in there somewhere, but I don't really remember.
No.
So that was kind of a funny way to do it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, they can't forget about me, their favorite neighbor, and the family's having dinner, and then Beans just pops up out of nowhere to be all Urkel. They play some scary music, and the dad says, I thought I changed the lock. Mom, this guy's scaring me. Oh my god. And it's chaotic. There's a food fight. Oh, that's the end of the movie, isn't it? No, it's not. In a frickin' swerve Bollywood type tradition, there's a song and dance number at the end.
And
Shia LaBeouf is on drums. And Christy Carlson Romano is singing. Twitty is playing an acoustic guitar. Beans is playing either an electric bass or an electric guitar.
It's wild.
And Tawny is maybe around there. Tom is not, because Tom is singing sea shanties and Davy Jones' Locker. And yeah, this was so weird because I wasn't aware that, like Lizzie McGuire or Hilary Duff, she sang.
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan, I think, probably even had a little something. But Hannah Montana, obviously.
Yes. And this was just, like a made for this movie song.
But again, like, I don't think Christy Carlson Romano had like a Disney musical career. No, maybe she did, but
she sings. What was
I asked, like, is this something... Was there ever, like, a talent show in the show where maybe they sang?
And I'm trying to remember if they had, like, a band in, like, the basement at all, or if they ever did a band, like
in
that.
The basement.
Well, yeah, they, like, in
no, just
in
the way you made it sound like it's like,
yeah,
the episode where they went to visit Buffalo Bill, and they went down into his basement, and he's like, yeah, I've got mini Kiss down in my pit. So yeah.
Put the lotion in the basket, Lewis.
That was the Even Stevens movie.
That was great.
Overall... did not like it very much, but the twist ending was pretty good.
But yes.
And the wrap-up ending and the ridiculous music number at the end also at least made it interesting. Like, if Ready to Run ended with the musical number, I would be more on board. And half a star point or something.
The musical number, so it wasn't just them playing. Yeah, but they showed, like, I don't know if you mentioned, they showed a lot of bloopers and stuff, too, from, like, the movie.
They showed a combination of bloops, but then also just, like, people being goofy backstage.
Well, like, it was, like, people, like, singing to the song, though, I think, too. Yeah. What were the lyrics? It was, like, something about a...
Dream, vacation.
That's what it was, yeah.
I don't know if I'll put it at the end of the episode, because maybe this one Disney is locked down the copyright on.
Oh, man.
Also, I didn't like the song very much, so...
that was fun.
Yeah, so overall, I don't know. I like the Jet Jackson movie more, and that still wasn't my favorite, but that one... As somebody who didn't watch really either of the shows, I can like the Jet Jackson one and appreciate it more because it allowed me, as not a viewer of the show, to still enjoy the movie. And I think with Even Stevens, I can't fault them for making a movie for the fans of the show on the channel that the show aired. Like, I can't be mad about that.
No.
But grading it on the scale of all Disney Channel movies, and I don't know, it kind of made me scream a lot. Jacob can attest to how much I was, like, kind of squirming in my chair, just going like, ugh, I hate this.
But like,
he thought I was doing, like, a goof, but I'm like, no, this is driving me crazy.
But, like, compare this to, like, other ones we've watched where we're just bored or just like,
I was pretty bored for a lot of this. Because a lot of it was focused on the family drama.
Yeah.
But I don't, like, know any of these characters or care.
The connections, yeah.
Being fucking farting in Shia LaBeouf's face isn't funny to me. Tim Meadows was the saving grace of this movie.
Muay Thai.
No, yeah, I don't give a shit about if she ends up with a fucking boyfriend at the end of the movie. I don't care about the fucking resolution of Gil or Tawny or fucking...
I care about
Tom. I want to know who Tom was.
Tom. Does
but
Tom
even Tom,
ever marry his
when he was
mother?
singing sea shanties, I'm like, what the fuck even is the point of this?
The goat.
I just felt like they were giving Tom the short end of the stick. So.
He deserved more.
But obviously you like this movie a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you want me to say?
I don't know. I just know that you love this movie. It's your favorite movie of all time. 5 out of 5 stars.
I don't know if it's my favorite movie of all time, but
it'll be the 20th one. You say like, hey, top 10. This is the top 10, right?
But I do remember
this
like
was
watching
one
this when it came out.
We can bring back. Maybe this is the origin of Jacob saying "Papa," and to bring back an old bit from the show. Jacob. This was one I remembered watching as a kid, so it obviously is the best movie of all time. Also, running time-wise, I will say that's knock against this movie. There's a lot of fluff in it.
This is where Papa came from. I think I remember watching this with my parents. Put one above this
movie, put one below this movie. What? Just to give so we can calibrate your rating barometer.
One above, one below. That's tough.
It really shouldn't be.
One above, maybe like...
No, I'm not saying like directly above. Just one you liked more than this, one you liked less than
like
this.
Smart House.
Well, Smart House is better than the Even Stevens movie.
Yeah.
What is worse than the Even Stevens movie?
Most of them.
Wow. So you're saying this is like a top 5 or top 10 movie?
In my honest opinion.
Okay, as I joked earlier, this is probably the 20th movie you said is like a top 10 movie. Is Scream Team better or worse than the Even Stevens movie?
I think those would both be towards my top, I think.
All right, we really...
But I like the Even Stevens movie better.
I'll remind people I have my running ranking on fat_tomato, my Letterboxd account. I think Jacob needs to...
So
the only thing with Jacob is he doesn't remember most of these fucking movies.
So when you do that, you enter the name and like, can you just like drag up to like a new position and drag down and stuff like that?
Yes, if we want to dive into the functionality of how lists work on Letterboxd, yes, there is usability that
you drag the placements.
Yes, it's like editing, back in the day, editing your Netflix DVD queue.
Okay, and I was just curious how that was, and maybe that's something I'll have to do too.
Yeah, and 5 stars for all of them.
Every single movie.
Including the Jenny Project.
Oh, that was a good one, too.
Well, if you want to write in to agree or disagree with either Jacob or myself and give your even-keeled take on the Even Stevens movie, write us at awholenewpod@gmail.com. If you got really riled up about our takes on this movie, you could include it in a review of the podcast on the Apple Podcasts page, where you can rate us, review us, and subscribe, as well as on Google Podcasts, Stitcher. Follow us on Spotify, as well as comment, like, and subscribe to all our video stuff on our YouTube page.
Yes.
Which is started to slow down a bit. Getting some flack from some commenters about, hey, there's a reason you have so many. You only got 137 subscribers. But we've gotten 2 more subscribers since that person said that, so take that. Because I don't know, I guess if we just uploaded the actual movies, that would give us a lot of subscribers and would inevitably take our channel down.
Oh, 100%. But we're getting up there. Just keep getting in there. Go give our videos some thumbs up.
I fully expect ratings, numbers, stocks, the Dow Jones, all will be going up.
Bitcoin.
With the next episode, we will be doing the long-hyped, awaited... return in the new year, 2021, bringing it in on a good note. Dustin will return. Dustin Levac will return in Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off.
That's right.
Which will be our next episode. So we're recording this a week before Christmas, which then is also 2 weeks before New Year's. So we are not planning to probably get an episode out before the end of the year, because we're also going to have to be working on whatever works for Dustin to squeeze him in. Yeah. That was not a body shaming joke.
Jesus, my God.
So with that being said, I don't know when Hanukkah ends, so maybe Hanukkah will end before this episode comes out, but happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever. Fuck 2020. Let's bring in 2021.
New year.
It'll be the year, a whole new year for a whole new pod. Dabbing
on the haters.
Like beef. I smell 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 like beef.